International Women's Day continues to be a powerful platform globally that unifies tenacity and drives action for gender parity, while celebrating the social, cultural, and economic achievements of women. This year, the Parliament Channel highlights women in Trinidad and Tobago from all walks of life, including non-traditional sectors. We take a look at their journey, the challenges that were overcome, successes celebrated, and milestones achieved.
So my name is Debra Sardinha. I am the owner of 54 Saddle, which is a restaurant. It's a grab and go, and we also do catering.
I am Alison Sardinha, proud mother of Debra Sardinha and co-owner of the Blue Crab restaurant, which specializes in local cuisine.
I have the best of both worlds because I have two parents. Mommy is very much by the book, all the recipes and formulas, and she follows through on those things. And that I was exposed to. I wasn't allowed to get away with much. I remember we had a little project and I was like, I don't really feel I need to cost these beef pies and chicken pies. And she said, yes, you're going to write down everything and we're going to get the yield and we're going to figure out what one pie cost so that you can sell it. She still has that little exercise book that she will bring out ever so often to remind everybody. But that was the starting of that foundation and the ability to respect standardized recipes. Follow it to the T, and once it's completed, taste it. If you need to tweak it, then, but follow the recipe. Daddy is what I call a vibration cook. He cooks with sweet hand, you know, just from the heart kind of thing. So marrying those two things together while I was professionally trained, so I have a lot of respect for that, but I also have a lot of respect for you know, what happens on your palate and what happens with those spices and coming up with the right combinations and balancing that. I had the best of both worlds combined to make me who I am.
One of the stories I liked about Debra had a little catering job to do, and she was doing puffs. And with the puff, the stuff fell on her hand, and the little confection got red as a berry. Well, that's it. How are we going to complete this thing? Because that's not my area. And Debra completed it without a murmur. So whenever I'm doing anything in the kitchen and I have an accident, I say, if Debra could do it, I could do it. So everybody knew that. I said, no, Debra did it, I'm going to do it. So I'm not going to focus on that, I'm going to focus on getting the job done. One of the nicest things about her is that she's very level-headed. And she would never say, well, I am qualified as a chef. I don't have to. Nope. She listens, look at it, give constructive criticism, but even buy into it. Crab and dumpling, yes, and things like that. But I think it has to do with how you're brought up, you know, and the values you instill in your kids. And I never told her I wanted her to be a doctor or lawyer or anything, because my mother never said that. Whatever you're going to do, give it your best shot. And that's what she did. Give it her best shot.
I remember when I finished Holy Name and I came to her and I said I wanted to, I didn't know I wanted to be an executive chef. I just knew I loved cooking. I loved it from being exposed with Daddy going to the market. And we went to the Port of Spain market. And I remember where you had really that homegrown baked bread, the sweet bread that we don't get anymore, the bread with the little nose on either end. And my sister and I used to fight in the back seat as to who, when we get home, will have this nose, as we used to call it. And then we would sit as a family. Meals were very important, and with that came the you know, the smells, the sights, the songs, and the finished product. And that I connected with happy times. Our family is big on both sides, but in terms of our initial family, Mommy was very much big on, and Dad, but Mom, as the woman of the home, was very much into us sitting as a family. We had to have breakfast together every morning. It didn't matter. Before we left for school, we had to have breakfast. Our table was set the night before. We had chores. Everybody knew what they needed to do, and we had to sit for dinner. She said she had no control of lunch for us, but breakfast and dinner we sat at. Whether Dad worked late or didn't come in, She sat with us and she made sure we ate at the table, elbows off the table, the whole manners, the whole laying of the table, those things were important. I started at Holy Name. I did food and nutrition. I knew food, and I just somehow had that. I wasn't one of those children that had to kind of find what my purpose was. I did not know at the time that I would become an executive chef. I did not know at the time that I would have my own business. I just knew that cooking and I were really synergy, a great synergy. I loved it. You know, it was so passionate about it. From a very, very early age, I remember Mommy's birthday, and she had said to me, no cooking. I wasn't at the age to cook. And again, the determination. So I wanted to make her a birthday cake. And I was really, we had somebody that would come in the afternoons and babysit with us while she worked. And I went on my own and I made this cake, which came out like a bake. But I was so proud of this thing. This was my first experience in the kitchen by myself. And I remember making the frosting, and the sugar was just running off all on the side. It wasn't even frosting. It was more like granulated sugar, gook. But again, I was so proud of this thing. In hindsight, I remember hiding it in my bureau at the time, which we don't have anymore. And the next night was dinner. And I brought this thing out, so proud of this thing. Well, Mommy wasn't eating it. She wasn't having any of it.
But
Dad said, yes, Dad said, okay, you know, he's gonna, but for them, it was that aha moment that said Debbie really wants to cook. And if she's going to, then we're going to allow her to come into the kitchen and come and see what we do, come and see the right way to use the knife and to chop and to organize. That was my introduction into it. And then I did food and nutrition. And I just knew that that was my calling. And I would dare say that we have to look at some of those things, because everybody is not going to go after the professions that we talked about. People go off the beaten track. I was one of them. And I would say with the current education system, we have to look and provide opportunities for young people on all gender levels that want to explore something that is not the traditional way, particularly things with your hands. We need that. We need a good plumber. You need a good mechanic. You need somebody that is skilled, that can cook. We all have to eat. So there's just as much emphasis on the doctor and the lawyer and the accountant. We need to think about children that are gifted in other ways as well, that are not considered what we would say the track that we are all supposed to walk on. It is a man's world. The culinary field is still male dominated. Very few women. You have a lot of entry level that will do prep or maybe little pastries. And then to get to the next level, what it demands is hours when everybody is partying, you're working, the sacrifices of family life, etc. are a lot. And then so some women will decide that they going up to that ladder, I will get to a particular level and I'm good right where I'm at. The executive chef is a very rare, but you push yourself. You take one step at a time and you say, wow, I conquered this, and so I'm now going to look to move to the next level and to the next level until you get to that point where you say, okay, I'm ready for this. And I always felt it was important to master or at least get the basics under the foundation. Because there will come times when somebody may not come out to work, things happen, and you have to roll out your sleeves and do anything I ask anybody to do. I am very comfortable in doing. My daughter Erin, she is third generation chef. She went to the Culinary Institute of America. She graduated. She did extremely well. She would say she's not a chef as yet because she understands the process of being a chef, but she did me very proud. And actually, when she said she wanted to continue in the field, I did not encourage it. I left her alone to kind of find, because of what is required and the sacrifices. She grew up between mom and myself. She grew up in the kitchen. All around the coattails of even her grandfather. So she was all in between. She has a fantastic palate. And at a very young age, I realized that she could distinctly identify flavors. She would say to me, you put cilantro, little girl, you put cilantro in this. And I was like, boing, 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 okay. But I never pushed it. I let her alone. She's been exposed to both ends of the spectrum. Total local, but then she could hang with all the international flavors. So much so that when she went away, one of her professors one day had put saffron, turmeric powder, and asked her about it, thinking that she would be fooled. And she identified it off the cuff, and they were like, and she said, yes, because we do a lot of Indian cooking in Trinidad and Tobago. So all of this is normal for me. And I would dare say it's really, passing the torch, passing the baton. Her head is on. She's a little Debbie in terms of being hardworking, great support system for me. I always see it in the sense of I'm in the corner there doing what I have to do, and on the said night of the event, and the first plate that comes out or whatever we're doing, and that first thing hits that plate, you see, boing, the eyes just kind of get excited and say, oh my gosh, she did that. And I would dare say the other thing is we move from, they'll call me Debbie. It doesn't bother me because, again, I could keep my focus. And on that night, that plate, and then you get chef. Excuse me, chef. And then I go, yes, yes, yes. That's what it's all about. Respect is an earned thing in the kitchen. It's a brigade. You earn your stripes. You can walk around and say, I'm the chef, and beat it up. And yeah, but it's better when you get the earned respect in the kitchen, where it doesn't matter about the gender, but they look at you and say, yes, this person is a leader. This person has a vision. This person has technique. This person is fair. And those are some of the things that I stand by.
Women have come a long way, yet there's still more to be achieved. For more information on International Women's Day 2019, visit our website at ttparliament.org and our social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram.